The Glacier Express is a renowned scenic train journey that traverses the Swiss Alps, connecting the mountain resorts of Zermatt and St. Moritz, often called the slowest express train in the world. It offers breathtaking views of snow-capped peaks, deep gorges, charming villages and picturesque valleys. I'll be taking the Glacier Express from Chur to Zermatt. And of course, I show you as much as possible. Join me on the Glacier Express. I'll be taking it from Chur in Switzerland to Zermatt. You find them on different routes. If you want to take the full route, you can take it from St. Moritz to Zermatt. The first section can also be done with the Bernina Express. I'll tell you all about that in the video. For now, let's get this video on the track and let's roll the intro. I start this railway journey along the Glacier Express in Chur. This is not the official first railway station if you're traveling with the Glacier Express, although there's one train that starts and terminates here per day. The Glacier Express and the Bernina Express that I took to here do cover partially the same route. Let's take a close look on a very simple map that I just made in paint. The Glacier Express runs officially between St. Moritz and Zermatt. However, there's one train per day that starts in Chur to Zermatt, and there's also one train per day that starts in St. Moritz and will only go to Brig, and obviously other way around as well. For the Bernina Express, there are 2 trains per day that continue to Chur, and then you find 3 trains per day in both directions, obviously between St. Moritz and Tirano. The section between St. Moritz and Chur, I covered that in the Bernina Express video. For now, let's take a close look on the map for the entire Glacier Express. It will go from St. Moritz to Chur, we'll make a switch back there and go to Andermatt, Brig and Zermatt and terminates there. The total travel time for the Glacier Express is about 8 hours for a distance of a little less than 300 kilometers. However, like I already mentioned before, we start this railway journey in Chur. Like basically all my videos, I first show you briefly the railway station where I departed from, then I show you the trains. And some views from the train, obviously, because this is where this trip is all about. If you are not interested in the railway station part of Chur, you will find chapters for this video on YouTube, so you can skip straight to the part that you want to see. The main railway station of Chur is located from walking distance from the city center. If you walk out of the railway station, you're pretty much within the city center already. Let it be no surprise that right in front of the railway station you find lots of bus stops. This one is a funny destination, and especially for my Dutch viewers. See, there are also some long distance buses, like Flixbus. This bus went to Germany. Although, you will also find long distance trains from and to Germany that do depart from here. And if you count the Bernina Express that is partially a regional train as well, then you also have a regional train to Italy from and to here. And something else you find at the front of the railway station, basically at street level, is another train stop. Yes, that's a bit strange, I know, but this is the train to Arosa from Chur, and this train will run along the streets within Chur. How cool is that? Pretty often you also find some freight coaches along these trains. I really like that. The Rhetische Bahn is a really nice network and I really love to cover some more of their trains, even though they don't really have serious long distance trains. And international, well, that's very little. The Rhetische Bahn is also responsible until the railway station of Disentis for the Glacier Express that we'll be taking today. I'll tell more about that in the video. Apart from the bus stop at the front of the railway station, what are mainly city and very regional buses, a little bit more at the side, you find another bus stop, and this place is also rather big, and that's the least I could say. Regional, medium and long distance buses do depart from here as far as I noticed. Also, a post office is located right next to this area. This bus stop is located right above the railroad tracks. You find direct access to all tracks, what is ideal for to change trains or to change from a bus to a train. Now let's head back to the railway station of Chur, to the bus station at the front to be exactly. Because also from the bus platforms you find direct access to the underground section of the railway station. There is an underground passage that will link all the railroad tracks with each other. And right here over here at this point, what is at the city center side, you find direct access to the underground section. To this area you will find escalators, elevators and obviously also stairs. Before we move to the underground section where you find access to the tracks, let's have a close look within the main railway station building, what's located at the front. Over here you find some shops and also railway related services, although I have to say most non-railway related services shops are located in the underground passage. There's some information about the buses here on the right, for example, and if we move on a little bit more you find the ticket counters for the SBB and the Retische Bahn. These ticket counters are not just to buy train tickets and to get some information about your journeys, but you can also buy railway related souvenirs, change money. Oh, there's just a whole lot more when it comes to this in Switzerland. I mean, Switzerland is a train geek's paradise. Public transportation geek's paradise, I should say. A little bit more at the other side of the main railway station building, there's a restaurant. Well, I think you get it. Let's go down to the area where you find access to the tracks from the front of the railway station. So, the underground passage. At the front of the underground passage, there's also a small supermarket. If I move straight, right over here. I really recommend you, especially if you take the Bernina Express, to buy some foods and drinks over there. Also for the Glacier Express, it can save you some money, although the food selection on board of the Glacier Express is really nice, but also really pricey. However, there's something magical about train food, so therefore I really like that. The underground section of the railway station even includes a parking grass for both cars and bikes. But most likely, if you watch this video, you're not from Chur and you're not really interested in how to park your car or bike here. This is Switzerland, and of course, route information about both departing and also arriving trains has been given crystal clear all over the railway station. You basically can't miss that. For example, this screen here, this is the biggest screen right at the main concourse. Also, you find some vending machines where you can buy train tickets, although I do have to say the infrastructure to buy your train tickets online is really good as well within Switzerland. Within the underground passage there are some more shops, and right before you go to the platform there are clear screens that will host information about the first upcoming departure as well. There are no elevators towards the tracks, but you find a ramp and stairs. However, if you are really in need for elevators, you will find them near the bus station, what is located at the very end of the platform. And I mean the bus station that is located right above the tracks, where you find the post bus, what I showed you a bit earlier on. From and to here you find lots of trains to all different destinations, both the standard trains that will operate on the standard gauge tracks and the regional trains of the Retische Bahn that do depart from narrow gauge tracks, because, well, they run on smaller railway lines in the mountains and therefore smaller tracks will be used. For the Glacier Express you find different train numbers. These train numbers are depending on the time of the day and the route that they'll be traveling on. And in each direction you find one type of composition, I actually found out. The Glacier Express offers 3 different comfort categories: second class, first class and excellence class. And within this video I will show you all of this. Most Glacier Express trains do consist of 5 or 6 carriages. And this includes one carriage that's basically a dining car, so this cannot be used for passengers. The Glacier Express with the highest capacity does have total 210 seats. What's really not that much, and therefore these trains are pretty often fully booked, and especially in the high season. A reservation for the Glacier Express is obligated. You cannot just hop on without reservation, you need a ticket and a reservation. A ticket can also be an Interrail, Eurail or a Swiss pass. However, you can also travel along the same route with regional trains. You need to change several times, but still, this is also really good doable, and I really want to make a video about this later on in the future as well. At the outside you find digital screens that will host some basic route information, basically the train number and the carriage number, and the numbers 1 and 2 at the outside do indicate very clear if this is a first or a second class carriage. There's one train per day that has one carriage that's called excellence class, and this is even above first class. You pay a way higher surcharge to travel on board of the excellence class. For excellence class you pay another 470 Swiss franc on top of a first class ticket. Excellence class looks really nice, you have a guaranteed window seat and the service is outstanding. And from what I've heard is that the Excellent class books out fastest. There are only 20 seats on board of the Excellent class. And with this full service, what includes drinks, lots of information, a personal guide, etc. Well, it's a different experience. I didn't travel on board of the Excellent class myself, I just sneaked in to see the Excellent class when the train came into the railway station of Zermatt to at least have some understanding of what to expect. But personally, I think it's nice, but I prefer the other classes. First class on board of these trains is really good as well. However, from what I heard, the Excellent class is outstanding. The Glacier Express is a touristic train. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's definitely a different experience than if you're traveling on board of regional trains. You can also travel along the same route with regional trains. You might not have these great panorama coaches for the entire route though, but at some parts of the route you might have trains where the windows can open a bit easier, and some other parts of the route you even might have some panoramic-like coaches. However, the Glacier Express offers a great railway journey with some stunning views in only panoramic coaches, so yeah, it's a different kind of experience. It's a touristic train. It's not a train people take to travel from A to B as a daily commute. At least, not for most people. You might find some lost commuters within the Glacier Express though, every now and then. Anyway, let's take a closer look at the second class. Obviously you find the highest capacity as second class. And this comes in a 2x2 configuration. Typically for Swiss trains most seats do face each other. Obviously there's no space for luggage in the overhead luggage racks because, well, it's a panoramic train, but at the end of the vestibules there's quite a lot of space for luggage. Some of these luggage racks are pretty big and some others are rather small. But overall, there's not a shortage of luggage storage in these trains. Apart from that, I also noticed that some spots within these trains, there are some coat hangers at the end of the carriages. This is also within the open compartments. It's really fancy actually. Something you should not forget about, and at the moment the backends of the seats are right next to each other like you find in these trains. This here also provides a lot of extra space for luggage. This doesn't only count for this train, but for trains in general. Screens at the end of the open compartments do host route information, and this is pretty detailed. It doesn't give only the stops, the time, but also the altitude where you're on. I mean, this train goes pretty steep out on the mountains. The highest point is 2033 meters above sea level, and the lowest point of the Glacier Express is 585 meters above sea level. What is Chur, by the way? The seats are facing each other, and between the seats there are big and sturdy tables. At the side there's a cup holder. Seat numbers are located right above the lower biggest window. Well, basically between the windows. Power sockets are located at the side of these trains. And within all seats, in all different comfort categories, you find an entertainment system that works with a 3.5mm plug for some touristical information during the route. Although you don't need to use this, because the onboard Wi-Fi system also provides touristical information. I'll show you later on. A small litter bin is located within these tables at the side, but it's really small. Well, about this trip. I was a tour guide and I was actually doing this with someone else, so therefore I had some freedom to move around and film a bit. I'll get back to this a little bit later on in the video because I might be doing more group tours later on in the future. For now, let's head on to the first class where I was traveling on today for this trip. And when we came on board of the train, the tables were made. Well, you have to pre-book this in advance. This can also be in second class, this specific shot, but it was really nice. I mean, there's just something fancy about eating on board of a train, and especially if it looks already like this at the moment you board the train. Not long after we left Chur, they started serving the first meals. Now basically we only had one course during this ride. You can pre-book meals if you reserve your ticket. This can be a 2-course, 3-course meal or a dish of the day. But you can also buy things a la carte on board of the train. However, the prices are not low, and if you book this in advance it's in general slightly cheaper. It's not a big difference though. I have to say the food was really good, and even though I didn't give my preferences up in advance and I rather tried to eat a little bit less meat, mainly because for environmental reasons, but also because I just really like animals in general. I, forgot to do that here, but the food was really good. And most importantly, when we reserved the meals, the preferences for the guests I had during this tour, we booked it correctly for them, so everybody's happy. What is obviously my first concern as a tour guide. First class comes in a 2x1 configuration, so 2 seats on one side of the aisle and 1 seat at the other side of the aisle. The middle seats are pretty often not so popular to book on these trains. However, I think if you have the middle seats, you have best of both worlds. And it's easier to just step out and walk around a bit. Because it was pretty busy during the ride, I just sneaked in later on at the railway station of Zermatt to film an empty carriage. That's one of the downsides if you start on this train in Chur while the train already started in St. Moritz. At the vestibules, you find some ski holders. I mean, we are in a winter sport paradise country as well, so that's not that crazy. Just like second class, big luggage racks are located at the end of the open compartment, but also the backends of the seats can be used for luggage, obviously. Also, just like second class, all seats are facing each other and you find an entertainment system within the seats. There's also an onboard infotainment system based on Wi-Fi. I'll get back to that a little bit later on in the video. Screens at the end of the compartments to host route information. And just like in the second class, there are some special coat hangers as well, where you can hang your coat. I mean, this is where it's all for. Even though there is a button to press for the stops on request, this train doesn't have stops on request. Now, let's do a toilet review. I mean, no train tour is complete without showing you the toilets, and these are the regular toilets on both of these trains. The toilets in standard class, or second class as they call it here, are pretty similar. Within the first class, there's also one carriage that is kind of accessible, and obviously over here you find the accessible toilet. Unlike most accessible toilets within European trains, this one cannot be used as a diaper changing facility if you're traveling with a little baby. I guess that's a kind of different audience. The first class carriage that hosts the accessible toilet is slightly different. There's also one spot for a wheelchair. But if you're traveling on board of these trains with a wheelchair, you need to book this in advance, and you also need to require assistance at the moment you're entering and leaving the train, because there's no level boarding on board of these trains. Something you will find between the first and the second class, at least in the train compositions I had, but this doesn't count for all train compositions though, is a dining car. Well, it's not really a dining car, you will be served at your seat. These seats here are for the staff, as far as I noticed. They don't offer the best views either. And right here on the right side of me, you find a big kitchen. I mean, this is quite impressive, and especially if you see how big this train is. Then you find this area here, what is a kind of a place where you can walk to along the journey. It's not really a dining car, because you will be served at your seat within these trains. But a kind of central spot within the train that has something from a dining car. You can also buy railway related souvenirs. How cool is that? I bought a little magnet for myself. I hope you like this video so far. If you do so, or if it's a helpful video to you, please give me a thumbs up, I really appreciate that. If you have some questions, some feedback, if you just want to say hello, feel free to leave a comment. And if you'd like to see more trip reports about more sustainable ways of transportation, the main focus for this channel is long distance and or international traveling. Sometimes there are exceptions, of course, but then hit the subscribe button. For now, let's continue with this video. And I promise you, I'm almost done with talking about the train. There is Wi-Fi available on board of this train. This links your mobile device to an onboard entertainment or infotainment system, I should say, where you can get information about the route, listen to some music, buy souvenirs, also have the gastronomical service available. This is actually quite nice and complete. You can also connect your mobile device to the internet, but then you have to register first. And personally, I'm not a big fan of that. At some spots within these trains near the entrance doors, there are windows you can open to get some great views from the train. It's better than the reflection of the windows, however, not all windows can be opened, so don't rely too much on this. If you're traveling along the same route with regional trains, then you might find trains where you can open the windows a bit more. although this is obviously also depending on the type of rolling stock you have. I already started showing you some views from the train, but like I mentioned earlier on in this video, for this trip I was guiding a group tour together with a colleague of mine. I'm working as a travel agent, and sometimes the travel company where we are working for, we also have group tours. This is all by train. I might do this more often in the future, and if you're interested in booking one of these group tours, please let me know in the comments and I can give you a link to a place where you can find more information about these tours, and I can also tell you what groups I might guide. What I really want to make clear to you is that my YouTube channel and my work are not connected with each other. This is an independent YouTube channel. For now, just stop talking and show you some views from the train between Chur and Zermatt. it's already the next day. That was a beautiful ride on the Glacier Express actually. It's a long but absolutely beautiful ride. I really enjoyed the views from the train, therefore I can recommend it. But I really have to say, and I think I also told you in this video, that I also think it's absolutely worth taking the same route by regional trains. Probably there will be another video about that in the future. For now, that's it for this video. I hope you liked it or this has been helpful to you. If so, give me a thumbs up. And if you like to see more trip reports of more sustainable ways of transportation, in general not like this on tourist trains, but on regular trains, mainly focusing on cross-bordering and or long-distance traveling, then hit that subscribe button if you haven't done this already. Before we really end up this video, one last thing. Once again, thank you for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you're interested in other videos, of course you can find them on this channel, and you can always subscribe to see the new videos coming up. And apart from that, in the description of this video on YouTube you find a link to a map, and on this map you can find all videos as well, but then on a map.